Thank you for joining me on my coffee break, Artanicus. Sorry I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper, not a coffee today.
Hey, it's all good. At the moment, I'm mostly just drinking water because we're currently going for a nice heat wave here, and coffee would not do well for that. Unless
What?
it was an iced coffee. Yep.
Have I ever told you how weird Canada's schooling system is, at least in certain parts of Canada?
Nope.
So, in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and I think Ontario, we have public and Catholic schools. Both of those are funded by the government.
Yep.
Catholic schools are publicly funded in Alberta, Canada.
Well, that's different. Here, they're private. So there's a Catholic school in the town I'm at, and it's a private school where you got to pay quite a fair bit to send your kids to. But it ranges from basically kindergarten all the way to grade 12. So at least you don't have to try and shift your kids around too much. Unlike with the other schools, but hey.
It's it's due to how our constitution. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear that beeping. I have no idea what it is.
I don't really hear it beeping,
But
but you might
anyways,
hear some sound from my end because of the fans here trying to beat this heat wave.
back when we made our constitution back in 1867 to become Canada, we um we made it so that the Irish Catholics and the English Protestants had the choice of Protestant or Catholic school. Eventually, that became the Protestant eventually just became public secular schooling, like what happens in Australia. Most of Canada got rid of the Catholic side. Only a few places kept the Catholic side, and then you have Quebec, who took that and made it French or English schools.
Okay.
In my opinion, with Catholic schools being funded by the government, they cannot complain about the government about the government's curriculum that much because that's where they get the money from.
Hmm.
Like um several years ago, the Alberta government passed a bill that made um it so that it was against the law to tell parents if your kids were in a club because they were gay, like gay support group.
Yeah.
And the Catholics didn't like that. But in my opinion, they kind of have to like it. They can't do anything about not liking it because they get the money from the public sector. Does that make any sense?
I sort of could see it, but it's not quite how uh, I would know it, I guess you could say. Since the public sector was always just paid by the government through the various tax system and the like
Yeah, if you're
here in
getting
Australia.
if my I guess what I could be misremembering what exactly they were mad about, but if you're getting if you're getting just because a bill is passed that you feel doesn't go along with your religious beliefs. If your religious beliefs uh, structure is getting publicly funded in a school system, A, everyone can attend it. You don't have to be Catholic to go to the Catholic school in Alberta. I know this because my own history. But bills that for the if a go okay, I'll try this a different way. Bill for the public schools that includes the Catholic schools and isn't prejudiced against the Catholic school. Does that make any sense? Even if the Catholic
Um,
school thinks it's against them.
I guess I could sort of see it. Since I never really gone to Catholic school myself, so I don't quite know properly.
You just have the one public school system, right?
Yeah, it's public school and the private school, and that's it. Private schools are usually run by, like Catholics or whatever sort of deal. So I went through the whole public school setup.
Do public schools in Australia have uniforms?
Yeah, yeah. Every school has a uniform of some shape or form, and depending on sports days, those uniforms can change quite drastically. Considering you're split into various little houses, I guess, kind of like with Harry Potter for the sports days, where you have to wear a very particular colored type of shirt for said sports day to represent your house. It's to try and do the whole team effort sort of thing.
Wait, did you say you public like Hogwarts houses?
Like Hogwarts. You know how you had the whole Slytherin, Gryffindor, and all that, those various team bits, the house bit? It a similar sort of case with the public schools with the sports events, where you would have like the schools split up into like 3 or 4 different sections depending on what house you belong to. I'm using air quotes here a bit, uh, because you would have like Maranoa, Bungle, uh, Tambo, that sort of thing. Like the houses would be based on like a region or a town's name sort of deal, and it would be like the red versus the green versus the yellow versus the blue sort of a thing.
So what house were you in?
Oh hell, I don't even remember properly anymore. I think it was either red or yellow. It all depends on which school, since it varies a bit. Since the school uniform was green, so there's no actual green house for that one. Uh, I think they had orange, red, yellow, and blue.
Wait, they don't. They just have colors. They don't have fancy names.
It varies a little bit. Like there'd be a name written on the back. I don't remember the name of the one I was in anymore, but
You don't
I've
even remember the.
seen.
You don't even remember the color. How am I supposed to expect you to remember the name?
But
Do you have a jump rope for some type of cancer program, or is that just a
uh,
Canadian thing?
yeah, yeah. The I think it's some heart-based one for us.
Yes, yes,
Heart-based
Hardcats.
charity one. Yeah, yeah. Since I remember doing that when I was a kid,
That
didn't
is
do too
very.
bad.
That is the only fundraiser I remember doing as a kid. But you said
I
that
rem-
you had more than just that as a fundraiser?
well, I remember one fundraiser that the school was doing. I don't remember what it was for exactly, but we had to sell boxes of chocolates and the like. And they incentivized the students to do sell as many as they possibly could with various prizes. One said prize was a Coca-Cola themed backpack.
You want a
So,
backpack for selling the most chocolate bars?
uh, yeah, I think it was. I like I said, I don't remember what the charity was. It was some local charity thing going on, and as such, they had some sort of deal going on with Cadbury for selling boxes of various chocolates, like Maltesers and the like. So we went around selling these boxes for like $2 a box. They weren't all that big, sort of deal, and the money went to the charity. Whoever sold the most, the school decided to incentivize by awarding them with a prize to encourage the students to go out and do as much as they could, sort of deal.
Doesn't that. Couldn't just someone whose parents were rich just sell to the family?
Potentially. I know I sold a couple of boxes to my own family, but I sold most of mine around town. Mostly standing outside the post office, actually. I actually got permission from the postmaster to be basically loitering outside of the post office and just hawking the candy off to anyone coming to check their mail.
So, that's how you won the backpack?
Yeah, don't remember how many I sold, but I did like there and I walked around town and all that. This went on for a few weeks. There's still charities, the fundraiser thing. At the end of it, I sold quite a fair bit, and I wound up with this Coca-Cola themed, Coca-Cola can themed backpack out of it.
Do you still have the backpack?
Somewhere. I do remember that back in '95, we did cop some pretty heavy floodage within where I was living. And we did have like bushfires going on and the like a fair bit throughout the years as well. It might have been some fundraiser to try and help animals afflicted by disasters or something, even. Since there's a few of those. Hell, I remember supporting one said fundraiser for a while there before my hours dropped to where I couldn't really afford the splurge on it. With
Wait,
where you donated X amount of money and they give you a stuffed toy, sort
wait,
of thing
wait,
every
wait.
month.
Did you just say you supported a fundraiser out of your own pocket?
Yeah, yeah, it was animal one for uh, basically taking care of animals that were afflicted by bushfires and the like. This was about 3, 4 years ago before my hours dropped down to virtually nothing. I could barely afford to keep on staying where I was at. I had to stop there for a bit. But for a few years, every month they would take like about $80 or so out of my bank account. I would get the stuffed toy in the mail, which I would give to my niece, sort of thing. She's got like about 20 or so of the damn things, or more.
Well, as you're aware, life's busy. I have to get back to work. Thank you for joining me on this coffee break.
No worries. You take care there, Fajuk, and I will see you at the next one, I guess.